what is the foundation? So LedBy is, as it states, a leadership incubator for high potential young Indian Muslim women. And our goal is to create an Indian growth story that is socially inclusive and equitable. I'm going to pause sharing my screen for a second. And again, just thank you all for joining us. I see our team members, I see our fellows with their graduation caps on. Waving hi, okay. This is fantastic. So once again, thank you for joining us. And like I mentioned, this is our inaugural cohort. We'd like to start by paying thanks especially to the Harvard Kennedy School, which is where LedBy was incubated. And all my social entrepreneur friends over the past year and a half, seeing your hustle and achievements have inspired me so much. I'd also like to thank Harvard Innovation Labs and the university in general. There is no substitute or alternative to what people's responsiveness and support at Harvard has meant to the creation of LedBy. Which brings us to the question, why did we start LedBy? So I went to Harvard with a dream. I, even in my essay applications, told them about the problem that I wanted to address. I just didn't see enough people with similar names in my circles or the places I worked at. I didn't hear of them. And why was this the case? I know the data says that Indian Muslims aren't doing too well, but there are 200 million of us. Some of us are doing well despite the odds, but where are they? Can we come together? Can we come together, especially at that very crucial juncture of life, college, when we're figuring out our goals, our life, our purpose, our identity? Moving back to my mother, as I call her Amma. My mother, like probably all of yours, is a fantastic woman. But she got married at the age of 17 and moved countries without a high school certificate. She raised a family and she gave her family everything that she did not have. She wasn't able to pursue her education. She made sure I did. You see all these books behind me. My medical books are the more worn out ones. I took 3 attempts to get into medical college and my family supported me through that. But the fact is that having a supportive family was just pure luck. Moving through medical school, then switching into public health, working at the government of India, I met some fantastic and wonderful mentors. But they were all men, not a single woman or a Muslim woman. And also, I never really found a tribe that got a big chunk of me, that got my festivals, that got my tehzeeb, that got my cultural nuances. And there were also some professional hiccups. The mentors that I mentioned above, they said I was ready to apply to Harvard and I would easily get through. They said, come on, Ruha, you're a Muslim woman from the developing world who's a doctor, wants to work for system level issues. You have a very unique bio. Harvard won't be able to say no to you. And that was true. I was also the first Indian to win Harvard Kennedy School's Women's Leadership Award, mostly for the work that I did for LedBy and for Indian Muslims. But why? Why is there this novelty around being an aspirational Indian Muslim woman? LedBy is a novel platform that doesn't want my story to be perceived as novel anymore. And as we built LedBy over the past 1.5 years, we've hit roadblocks. When we went to people asking them for mentors who are Indian Muslim women, they often came to a blank or said, nothing comes to mind at the moment. But we kept at it. And today we are an incorporated not-for-profit that focuses unabashedly on Muslim women, giving them a tribe, giving them mentors and relevant leadership skills. We're here to celebrate our first cohort, or should I say our 24 co-creators. Their journey might sound short, 3 months, but we, the LedBy team, knows that the fellowship was a rigorous, intensive and demanding exercise. Maybe even the families of the fellows that are here notice that. Talking about families, a special mention of all of you. For every fantastic Muslim daughter you have raised, you have given dreams and strength to so many other young women. As we gather from oceans across in the midst of a global pandemic, on this joyous occasion, we'll kickstart with some music from the talented Shreya Rajahamsa. Hi, Shreya. Before you sing, Shreya, could you just tell us a little bit more about yourself and the song that you'll be singing?
Hi, Ruha. Thank you so much for letting me be part of this. Good evening to everyone. I'm Shreya. I'm a lawyer by degree and an educator by passion. Ever since I can remember, I've turned to music to express every emotion I've ever felt, whether I'm happy or sad, anxious or overwhelmed. Music has helped me get by and has brought a lot of joy to my life. And I'm so happy to share that joy with all of you today on this monumental occasion. So a big congratulations to all of you. I've witnessed a few of the instances from this fellowship, and I'm so happy and proud of what all of you have achieved. Um, to introduce the song, it's one of the most cliched graduation songs, but no farewell is truly complete without it. It's called Leaving on a Jet Plane by John Denver. And joining me today is my ukulele, a friend I made during this pandemic. So there's going to be a couple of chords that are completely off, but I hope you guys are going to forgive me for it. So here goes. All my bags are packed and I'm ready to go. Standing here outside your door. Hate to wake you up to say goodbye. But the dawn is breaking, it's early morn. Taxi's waiting, he's blowing his horn. Radio, I'm so lonesome I could die. So kiss me and smile for me. Tell me that you'll wait for me. Hold me like you'll never let me go. 'Cause I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again. Oh babe, I hate to go. Now the time has come to leave you. One more time, just let me kiss you. Close your eyes and I'll be on my way. Dream about the days to come when I won't have to live alone. About the times we don't need to say. So kiss me and smile for me. Tell me that you'll wait for me. Hold me like you'll never let me go. 'Cause I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again. Oh babe, I hate to go. Now the time has come to leave you. One more time, just let me kiss you. Close your eyes and I'll be on my way. Congratulations, guys. Here's to a super fun evening and really looking forward to everything that's been planned.
Thank you so much, Shreya. Now for our convocation speaker, who honestly needs no introduction, but we will still, because a summary of her achievements will be an inspiration for all of us. Shabana Azmi is an internationally celebrated film and theatre actress who believes art should be used as an instrument for social change. Her entry into films marked the way for parallel cinema movement with Shyam Bengal's Ankur in 1974. She has won 5 national awards for Best Actress, 3 of them in a row, which is an unprecedented feat. She has also won 5 international awards for Best Actress. Satyajit Ray, in his book Our Films, Their Films, says of her, in her very first film, Shabana Azmi establishes herself as the finest dramatic actress of the country. She is also highly respected as a social activist and tireless campaigner for the rights of women, slum dwellers, and the underprivileged. She heads the Mijwan Welfare Society, an NGO that works for the empowerment of the girl children in rural India. Mijwan Welfare Society works on education, primary health and sanitation, skill development and employment generation. Leading Bollywood designer Manish Malhotra has brought the craft of chicken curry, which we all know, of the Mijwan women to the doorsteps of the Indian film and fashion industry. From being non-existent on the map of India, Mijwan is today known all over the world as a model village that is replicable and scalable. Shabana Azmi was also nominated to the Rajya Sabha by the President of India in 1997. She is a recipient of the Padma Shri and Padma Bhushan. She was also awarded Gandhi International Peace Prize at the House of Lords in 2006. At the bicentennial celebrations of International Human Rights in Paris, 1989, she was honored along with Mother Teresa by President Mitterrand of France. She also won the Crystal Award along with Muhammad Ali and Michael Douglas at the World Economic Forum in 2006. She has been conferred 5 doctorates by renowned universities, both national and international. She has received the prestigious Martin and Chavez Award and is visiting professor at the University of Michigan.
Independent person, apart from being our mother and his wife. Today, so many years later, women have learned to negotiate more space for themselves. It is for you to learn the means to become part of the solution, not part of the problem. Stand up and recognize that identity is not static. It is fluid. If you ask me who I am, I will say, I'm a woman, I'm an Indian, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, sister, actor, activist, Muslim, etc. My being Muslim is only one aspect of my personality. My constitution, I can choose to express it to the degree I want, my Muslimness. India is a secular democratic country. My constitution gives me the right to practice my religion, dress as I please, eat what I like. Unfortunately, with rising Islamophobia, the world over, to be a Muslim and a woman is a double whammy. You have to fight exclusion because you're seen as a Muslim from outside, and also have to fight with conservative forces that want to control your life within the community. Everyone has an opinion on what you wear. Those who discriminate because one wears a hijab, and those within the community who might object if women don't choose to wear one. Muslim women in India must seek agency and push for their rights, but the community must step up too. Many courageous women have stood up against triple talaq and halala. Many Islamic countries have abolished these practices, and we should not be deterred from doing so too. But Muslim women have made their place in history and in our present. They have been judges, educationists, freedom fighters, healers, leaders. M. Fatima Bibi from Chennai is a former judge of the Supreme Court of India. Appointed to the Apex Court in 1989, she became the first female judge of the Supreme Court of India and the first Muslim woman to be appointed to any of the higher judiciaries in the country. Women performed the function of priests in India too. Saida Hamid in Lucknow got nikahs formalized. Women are pushing for more equitable terms of marriage and a model, nikah nama. Khushbu Mirza, if you remember, was a team member on the Chandrayaan-1 mission in 2008, a rocket scientist. Muslim women in the field of performing arts have nurtured valuable traditions and cultures such as Nargis, Wahida Rahman, Begum Akhtar, and writers such as Isma Chughtai, Qurratullain Haider, and others. Your fellowship gives you the strength to equip yourself in your professional life, but is also, and this is important, is also a tool to empower women around you. One of the unfortunate lies we are told is that as women, there is only space for so few of us. And that's absolutely not true. You don't have to be the only female in the room of a bunch of men to be successful. That's not success. It's a deliberate way of keeping us all down. My advice to you would be stay in touch with fellows here. Network with other women. Help them out. Reach out for help if you need it. Make time for the women in your life. Look for ways to lift each other up. Finally, while some of us have gathered here to celebrate, we have to remember that many of our peers, friends, families, and women we do not know are being forced to drop out of schools and colleges. Many women are losing out on job opportunities as we speak. This moment is powerful. It's on us to stand up for ourselves and our fellow women through this crisis. That's the only way to beat the patriarchy. Remember that your achievements and successes are owed to every woman who came before you and who comes after you. Every woman who fought for the rights that you and I share today. Every woman who's ever had an idea and the courage to live that idea. Many girls, especially in developing countries, may never return to the classroom or be forced into early marriages or low-paying jobs to support their families. I quote Malala Yousafzai. I ask you to remember them today. As you go out and change the world, don't leave them behind. This day is about you, about a new phase of your life. I can see that you are excited to preserve and nurture this excitement, this spark within you that will without doubt help you change the world. Don't forget to enjoy the journey ahead. I end with a poem, Do Raha, written by my husband, Javed Akhtar, for our daughter, Zoya. I will also read out its English translation by Professor David Matthews. So this really is a call to all those 24 young women and young women all over the world. Do Raha, crossroads. ये जीवन एक राह नहीं, एक दो राह है. पहला रास्ता बहुत सहल है, इसमें कोई मोड़ नहीं है. ये रास्ता इस दुनिया से बेजोड़ नहीं है. इस रास्ते पर मिलते हैं रीतों की आंगन, इस रास्ते पर मिलते हैं रिश्तों के बंधन. इस रास्ते पर चलने वाले कहने को सब सुख पाते हैं, लेकिन टुकड़े टुकड़े होकर सब रिश्तों में बट जाते हैं. अपने पल्ले कुछ नहीं बचता, बचती है बेनाम सी उलझन, बचता है सांसों का ईंधन, जिसमें उनकी अपनी हर पहचान और उनके सारे सपने जल बुझते हैं. इस रास्ते पर चलने वाले खुद को खोकर जग पाते हैं, ऊपर ऊपर तो जीते हैं, अंदर अंदर मर जाते हैं. Life is not a road. Life is a crossroads. The first path is very easy. It has no turn. This path is not separate from the world. On this path you find courtyards of rules. On this path you find bonds of relationships. But those who tread this path find all their pleasures in name alone. They fall to pieces and are divided amongst all those ties. Nothing is left for them. All that is left is confusion without name. All that is left is fuel of the breath, in which their sense of self and all their dreams burn and go out. Those who take this path lose themselves to please the world. On the surface they live, inside they die. And now this is what he says to the daughter. दूसरा रास्ता बहुत कठिन है. इस रास्ते में कोई किसी के साथ नहीं है, कोई सहारा देने वाला हाथ नहीं है. इस रास्ते में धूप है, कोई छांव नहीं है. जहां तसल्ली भीख में दे दे कोई किसी को, इस रास्ते में ऐसा कोई गांव नहीं है. ये उन लोगों का रास्ता है जो खुद अपने तक जाते हैं, अपने आप को जो पाते हैं. तुम इस रास्ते पर ही चलना. मुझे पता है ये रास्ता आसान नहीं है, लेकिन मुझको ये गम भी है, तुमको अब तक क्यों अपनी पहचान नहीं है. The second path is very hard. On this path, no one goes with another. No one lends a hand to give support. On this path, there is scorching sun. There is no shade, where one consoles another with charity. On this path, there is no such village. This is the path of those who travel towards themselves. This is the path of those who travel towards themselves, who discover their own true self. Take this path. I know this path is not easy, but one thing saddens me. So far, you have not found yourself. And so, young friends, I congratulate you once again and ask you to take the road less traveled by. All the best, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Azmi ma'am. I don't think I have the words to tell what that resonated or felt like to me, and I'm pretty sure everybody else is also speechless. We just want to thank you for being one of the frontier women who have inspired us. Whatever we are, we stand on the shoulders of giants such as you. So not only thank you for paving the way, but also for paying it forward by coming and joining us today. We're going to give the floor to our fellows so that they can also spend some time reflecting on what their journey has been. They were selected over a process that lasted for 2.5 months. They went through 3 rounds. From a very competitive pool, we selected 24 fellows. They spent 3 months with us, innumerable workshops, a lot of deliverables, a couple of extensions, but they all made it to the end. So once again, congratulations, not the cohort of 2020, but rather LedBy Fellows since 2020. We have Pratna Chaturvedi up next to sing us a song. Pratna, could you please introduce yourself and also tell us why have you chosen this song?
Sure, Ruha. First of all, I want to congratulate each one of you today, and in the same breath, want to wish you all the luck for all your future dreams, wishes, aspirations, and endeavors. This has been such an empowering, exciting, insightful, encouraging platform, and thank you, Ruha, for letting me be an active part of it. One line on Ruha and me, because I think it's important for me to mention here. So Ruha and I go back 25 years, and it started off as a beautiful Hindu-Muslim friendship of 2 little girls on their ladybird bicycles. And today has grown into a strong Hindu-Muslim companionship of the same 2 little girls grown into liberal and forward-looking women. And this song I sing is to that spirit and is to all your dreams, hoping for you to dream every day and chase them every hour and make them all come true eventually. The song is called Bavra Man Dekhne Chala Ek Sapna, and I hope you all enjoy it. All the very best. Bavra Man Dekhne Chala Ek Sapna, बावरा मन देखने चला एक सपना, बावरा मन देखने चला एक सपना, बावरी सी मन की देखो बावरी है बातें, बावरी सी धड़कने हैं, बावरी हर सांसें, बावरी सी करवटों से निंदिया दूर भागे, बावरे से नैन चाहे बावरे नजारे हैं, बावरे नजारों को तकना, बावरा देखने चला एक सपना, बावरे से इस जहां में बावरा एक साथ हो, इस तयानी भीड़ में बस हाथों में तेरा हाथ हो, बावरी सी दोनों कोई बावरा एक राग हो, बावरी सी दोनों कोई बावरा एक राग हो, बावरे से पैर चाहे बावरे तरानों के, बावरे से बोल पे थिरकना, बावरा देखने चला एक सपना, बावरा मन देखने चला एक सपना, बावरा मन देखने चला एक सपना. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Prathna. So we start with the youngest member of our team, Manika, to take the floor to reflect on what her journey's been like, why she joined LedBy, and how does she feel now since she was an intern. She's actually going to be leaving us at the end of today. And then we'll hear Paran, Shabina, and then I'll take the floor again. Over to you, Manika.
Hi, everyone. So as a third culture child myself, my identity is something that has been a close topic to me. The past 3 months have taught me to embrace my identity gracefully and with pride. And I have to thank everyone who has been a part of the LedBy journey for this. The mission of LedBy is what caught my attention and made me want to join its team. All citizens of a country deserve equal opportunities, and I am grateful to have worked with LedBy to help create a more integrated India. Each and every session we had on a Sunday evening was the highlight of my day. Considering that neither the fellows nor the team could meet in person due to the current circumstances, the bond present in each and every session, every team call reminds me of how precious genuine human connection is. This journey has been full of introspection, learning, and inspiring. The workshops opened doors of thinking that I did not know needed opening. Every conversation we had sparked thoughts that needed to be considered, and every week we all got closer and closer together. This has been an experience that would not have been the same without the participation of all the fellows. So thank you, fellows, for opening up to us, becoming vulnerable to us, and supporting our mission of empowerment. Thank you to the mentors for supporting our fellows throughout and helping us achieve our aim. And finally, thank you to the rest of the LedBy team for creating a safe space, a nurturing environment, for not just the fellows, but for me too. All of our insanely long team calls paid off this summer. I'm proud of all of us. This experience has been incredible, and I can't wait to see what LedBy achieves in the future.
Thanks, Monica. Adab to everybody present here. To those who haven't seen my face every Sunday for the last 3 months, my name is Paran and I manage LedBy's Outreach and Communications Department. I remember the first mail I'd written to LedBy back in May. Nobody could have convinced the Paran from May that LedBy would silently settle into your life, in the corner of your room, and at the back of your mind. LedBy claimed my weekends and my Tuesday evenings, then it went further and also claimed my week. With each passing week, not only did I learn how to set the foundations of an organization, I was lucky enough to get access to these skills and values which I never thought were to be learned until I did. LedBy's team is a rather interesting space. Most of us have never met each other, yet we managed to make this organization stand on its feet. It took me a few weeks to understand what Ruha was trying to build, but once I did, I knew I'd rather spend time here than anywhere else. I am lucky that these past few months have been so busy. While we are all locked up inside our homes and as the coronavirus cases plummet outside our doors, LedBy reassures me that there shall always be a silver lining as long as you're willing to see it. I know many of you feel that these are sad times in the country. But I believe that these are good times because never before was felt the need to have an organization for Indian Muslim women in professional spaces. LedBy has changed that along with much else. To the graduating fellows, I can say as a surety that your Sundays are going to be a lot freer, but a little pika since the fellowship is through. But LedBy is like Hotel California. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shabina. I manage the program at LedBy Foundation. So I am an MBA graduate from the Indian Institute of Management and an electronics and communications engineer. And I'm also a first generation graduate and also a first generation postgraduate from my family, from my entire Khandan, both my maternal as well as paternal. I come from a family where girls generally get married once they have completed their schooling. Even the schooling is a very nominal formality. But my parents have always encouraged me, and I think before I even thought of what I am today, they envisioned it and they wanted me to be what I am today when I was born. And I would like to take this platform to thank my dad, who always stood against people who were always telling him not to send me outside, not to get a girl educated more than a graduation probably. And my mom always pushing my father to support me. She's always there. She's always preparing snacks for me whenever I'm studying. She's a constant presence in my life. And my brother, for always believing in me, for always looking up to me. They're also in the call. Thank you so much for being here for me. So even after all this, even getting where I am today, I always felt a lack of mentorship, lack of people to look up to, mainly because I come from a family where there's not much education. And also I was the only Muslim girl throughout my schooling, in my college, even in my post-graduation. In IIM Ahmedabad, I had just one other girl out of the 500 students who is an Indian Muslim woman. So I started realizing how lonely this journey was. And one day I come across a mail from one of my best friends who is also here, Shweta. Hi. I thank her for the email she had sent me. It was from about Ruha, and then I instantly connected with her vision. And I'm so grateful for that day. And it has this journey of mine has started as just a volunteer work, because I liked what's happening. And before I could even realize it turned something into something which is a lifelong journey for me. I learned a lot in the last 3 months from the team, from the fellows, from the mentors. Everybody was so ready to help others out. I thought this was missing. I didn't know that people were like this. I didn't know that there are a lot of people who are very successful and still wanting to help others. I always felt like I was alone, but after being the part of the team, I did not feel that. And after seeing our wonderful mentors, and now there's a family that I can look up to apart from my own family. And I'd like to thank everybody here today who are participating in this graduation ceremony along with us, who are here today to celebrate the success of the fellows. I'd like to thank the fellows for being what they were, being supportive, being ready to learn, and also for teaching us. We also learned a lot from you. And our mentors for coming here and joining us, and Ruha and the team. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shabina, Paran, Manika. Thank you, fellows. So I'd like to just take the few minutes before we have our Nobel laureates give our keynote speech to tell you more about what 2021 will look like. So in addition to everything that the fellows went through in 2020, which were workshops on negotiations, mindfulness, and storytelling, of which negotiations was taught by Harvard faculty, 2021 will look at modules on adaptive leadership and on growth mindset, which will be taught by MIT faculty in addition to Harvard faculty. We're also going to, inshallah, have 2 in-person retreats, COVID permitting. We have an additional pool of executive coaches that will provide personalized mentoring and coaching services to our fellows after the programming is over. We're also opening up a sub-track for social enterprises with up to 25 to 30 lakh rupees to be invested in an Indian Muslim woman founder. And inshallah, as we move ahead, we hope to be able to tie up with corporates and even with the government to further our outreach. The ultimate goal for the next 5 years is to have an alumni base of a little shy of 500 people, with having 10,000 hours of mentoring and 1,200 hours of workshop. So that's what the vision is. I'll give the space back to Shabina to introduce our keynote speaker.
Thank you, Ruha. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure once again for me to introduce our keynote speaker today, Dr. Ebadi. Shirin Ebadi is a lawyer, former judge, and human rights activist from Iran. On 10th of October 2003, she was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for her significant and pioneering efforts for democracy and human rights, especially women, children, and refugees. She is the first Iranian and also the first Muslim ever to get this prize. Dr. Shirin Ebadi was one of the first few women to earn a law degree in Iran and became Iran's first female judge when she was just 23 years old. She became the first woman president of Tehran City Court and served until the Iranian Revolution barred women from becoming judges. Ebadi was subsequently forced to become a clerk of the court. After she and the other female judges who were also barred protested, they were given other roles in the department, but not of a judge. Ebadi resigned in protest. She then chose to practice law, but was initially even denied a lawyer's license. After years of struggle in 1992, she finally obtained a license to practice law and began to do so. She also taught at the University of Tehran and became an advocate for civil rights. In court, Ebadi defended women and dissidents and represented many people who, like her, had run afoul of the Iranian government. She also helped found the Defenders of Human Rights Center. In addition to being internationally recognized advocate of human rights, she has also established many non-governmental organizations in Iran, including the Milton Signature Campaign, a campaign which demands an end to legal discrimination against women in Iranian law. Dr. Ebadi is also a university professor, and often students from outside Iran come to her and to learn from her about human rights. She has published over 70 articles and 13 books dedicated to various aspects of human rights, some of which have been published by UNICEF. In 2004, she was named the Forbes magazine as one of the 100 most powerful women in the world. In January 2006, along with her sister, Jodie Williams, Dr. Ebadi took the lead in establishing the Nobel Women's Initiative. So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Ebadi to speak to the LedBy family and all our supporters who are here to listen to you. Thank you again. Also, thank you, Shirin Irshadi, who is here as a translator for today. Ma'am, yeah, take the floor. The floor is yours. Ma'am, you're on mute.
شروع کن شیرین جون.
سلام میکنم به همه کسانی که من رو میبینن و صدای من رو میشنون.
I am saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of the people who are watching me and who are hearing me. And I want to thank Dr. Ruha Shada for having convened this program. And I'm sure that in the future, you will all succeed. Having attended this program will help you in life. I first want to give you a description of what leadership means to me. So what does leadership mean? I think leadership is not only achieving a good financial situation or achieving positions in government or in private life. In order to become a leader, it doesn't mean that you have to become, for example, a mayor or a president of a country. I think leadership has a broader meaning. From my point of view,
رهبری یعنی توانایی
leadership means
حل مشکلات
the ability
در زندگی با
of solving issues that we face in life.
با این تعریف رهبری از خانواده شروع میشه
Therefore, leadership starts in the family.
به سطح جامعه و رهبری جامعه میرسه
Then we go to the society, and then we may go up and reach the leadership in a country.
مشکلات خودمون رو درک بکنیم
Until the day that we understand the issues and problems that we face in life and find solutions to them,
مشکلات
we will not be able to
آینده رو
solve larger issues that we may face in the future.
خیلی از افراد رو من دیدم
I have seen many people
که افکار خوبی دارن
who have good thoughts, they have good thinking, they have big projects in mind,
شروع نمی‌کنن
but they never start.
انجام اون کار
They don't start implementing them.
نمیخوان در اون راهی که باید برن قدم بزنن
They don't want to take the first step
علتش هم اینه که میترسن
because they're scared.
خیلی ها از شکست خوردن میترسن
Many are scared to fail.
و فکر میکنن
They're scared of failure.
که شکست خوردن
They think
به معنای تمام شدن
that
زندگی.
failure is the end of it.
حتما شما هم افرادی رو میشناسید
I'm sure that you all know people
که به دنبال شکست مالی یا اقتصادی
that they have lost it after a financial, for example, failure, and then they have even committed suicide.
از این توانایی محروم بودن
These are people who are unable to solve their issues.
اصولا ما نباید به مشکل فکر کنیم
I think that we shouldn't concentrate on the problem and on failure,
برای اینکه هر شکست
because each failure
مقدمه پیروزی بزرگتری باشه
can be an introduction to a greater victory.
ما اگر از شکست خوب یاد بگیریم
If we learn from our failures
مشکلات پیش آمده
and learn why
میتونیم
we have faced these issues,
از همون شکست تجربه های خوبی داریم
then failure will become an experience for us, and we can use it in the future as a basis.
شکست رو در زندگی به صورت یک موتور
I always see failure in life as a motor, as an engine.
یعنی
What I mean is,
اگر شکست نمیخوردم
if I had not faced failures, I would have never succeeded.
و این شکست ها بود
And these failures
شد من در زندگی بر مشکلاتم
resulted in me personally being able to solve my problems and then take steps towards the future.
شکست مقدمه پیروزی
This is why I say failure is an introduction to victory, to success.
وقت کمی دارم
I know I have a few minutes to speak with you,
و از همین وقت کم استفاده می کنم
but I want to use the few minutes that I have
قسمت کوچکی از زندگی خودم رو
to tell you about a little bit of my life
چقدر درش شکست هست
so that you can become familiar with my failures in life.
من دختر جوانی بودم
I was a young girl,
دانشگاهی حقوق رو تمام کردم
graduated from law school,
و
and I became a judge in Iran. I really enjoyed my profession. And since I had a good education, I was promoted very easily, and I became a presiding judge. Until in 1979, a revolution occurred in Iran, and then the government of the Islamic Republic of Iran was formed. The government that's still in existence. This government was both a dictatorship, a totalitarian, and a misogynist government. They did not approve of women's rights. At the beginning of the revolution, me and a few other women who were judges were demoted because we were women and could not judge in an Islamic regime. And in order to degrade us more and humiliate us, they demoted me to the position of a clerk of the court, where I presided. And in reality, without having committed any violation, just because of being a woman, I lost my profession that I really liked and enjoyed. I did not accept to become the clerk of the court that I had presided over, and I left the Ministry of Justice as soon as I could. And I started my own law practice and opened an office in Tehran. I started defending innocent people, defending victims. And I started defending political and conscience prisoners in Iran, pro bono, because I wanted to tell the people who dissented the government that if you are caught, there is a person who will defend you and will defend you pro bono. My NGO started getting bigger and bigger, and many other attorneys joined me. And all of them agreed to work pro bono. And we all defended political prisoners and prisoners of conscience. And when I came out, I would start writing articles and books in order to prove that women in Iran are empowered, they are powerful, and the government is playing tricks on women and violates their lives and their rights. And they have come up with discriminatory laws in Iran against women. And there are many laws that the Islamic Republic of Iran has passed, which are still prevailing in Iran. And when I bring a few examples, you will know what I'm talking about. Pursuant to the laws in Iran, the life of a woman is worth half of that of a man. This means, for example, if me and my brother go on the street and a terrorist, for example, attacks, and we're both injured, and the injuries are the same, the damages paid to my brother is twice as much as the damages paid to me. Why? Because he's a man. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who that person is, for example, what their level of education is, what their expectancy in life is, what their age is. Just because one is a woman, she receives half damages. Or when we look at courts, when it comes to testimony, the testimony of two women equals the testimony of one man. Because the law does not accept that women are equal to men. So they presume that two women are equal to one man. Or when one gets married, one cannot travel without the permission of her husband. Or even if a woman wants to work, the husband has to agree. These are all bad laws, discriminatory laws that were passed after the revolution. Of course, these were not the only bad laws. All of the punishments in the criminal law were changed. And stoning of people was accepted in our criminal laws, meaning if a married woman commits adultery, she will be stoned. This is not acceptable in any other parts of the world. Or flogging people. In our penal code, flogging became a punishment. So many crimes are punished by flogging. Or like homosexuality bears the punishment of execution. Therefore, we faced a lot of issues in our laws. We didn't have this kind of laws before. So I started writing articles, I started writing books, and I started defending people who dissented the government, who were against the government. And since I had written many books regarding different subjects, I started, and I had written books, I started teaching at the university as well, until I was arrested personally. And the reason that I was arrested was that I brought a case against the head of the police. They had raided the students' dormitory and killed a student. And so I brought a case against them. And instead of putting the head of the police in prison, they arrested me and put me in prison. During the time that I was in prison, I was in solitary confinement. And this is when I understood what my clients who had been in solitary confinement for months and months, how they lived, what they tolerated. And this resulted in my experience in this regard. So in brief, when I got out of prison, I started working more. Instead of not accepting other cases, I started accepting more cases. And that's why I started winning different awards until in 2003, I won the Nobel Peace Prize. I was the first Muslim woman to win this prize. And I'm very glad that after me, 3 other women from Pakistan and from the Izadis in Iraq won this prize. I know that when we speak of Muslims, Izadis may not consider themselves Muslims. I know that. But there are other women who have won from Yemen, for example. The day that I was receiving the prize, and I was giving my speech in front of the King of Norway and also the jury there. The program was being broadcasted on satellite all over the world and in my own country. And I knew that a lot of people are watching the program. And I knew that the head of the Ministry of Justice was watching this program too. And these are the people who demoted me because I was a woman. At that time, I was thinking, oh, this guy is going to think, what if we had not demoted her? At least she was one of our judges who had won the Nobel Peace Prize. And that's where I said, well, this is what failure means. If I had not failed, I would not have started my own law practice and I would not have been this active, so that everyone knew that women are powerful too. Of course, the issues that the government of Iran have created for me was much more than that. In 2009, a bunch of government militias raided my law practice, my NGO, and they looted it. They took everything. And then they closed down the NGO. Many of my co-workers were arrested. Some of them are still in prison. On that date, I was not in Iran, and this was mere accidental. I had left Iran for 3 days to participate in a seminar in Spain. After the third day, when I was going back to Iran, a few of my colleagues called me and said, your presence is not going to be in our favor in Iran. You have to stay out of Iran so that you can be the voice of other people in Iran, so you can be our voice. And since 2009 until today, every year, I travel 10 times or per year, once every month, or maybe even more than that. And I have come to India a few times. It's a beautiful country, and I have been in the beautiful universities there. You might have seen me, we might have met in your country. I have traveled to all over the world, US, Europe, Islamic countries, in order to say what has happened to the people of Iran. Of course, the government of Iran is not sitting idle. All of my property, my house, and my law office were expropriated. You know, even the Nobel Peace Prize was confiscated. But since I was not in Iran to be arrested, they arrested my sister and my husband. And at age 63, that's the age that people are thinking about retirement without having an income. I had to migrate to stay in foreign countries, and I did not speak any foreign language because I was educated in Iran and I lived in Iran. I didn't know much about Europe. I didn't know much about America. I had an Iranian passport, and that's the way my life was. But then I believe in God, and I decided to stand on my own feet, and I succeeded. I talked against the government all the time, and the government sent me messages. They said that if you accept silence, we will return your property and we will set your members of your family free. But just accept silence. Of course, I love my family, but I like justice more than my family. Of course, I like my property and my house, but I like justice more. And I said, no, I'm not going to be silenced. Of course. After a while, as a result of international pressure, they had to set my sister and my husband free, because they had nothing to do with my profession. My sister is a dentist and she's a professor at the university, and my husband is an engineer and he has nothing to do with my work. But unfortunately, many of my co-workers were in prison, and some of them did their time, but unfortunately, 2 of them are still in prison and still suffering. You might have heard their names in the news. Miss Nasrin Sotoudeh and Miss Narges Mohammadi. They're still in prison. The government is not willing to set them free. But I have to tell you, it's not only my co-workers who are in prison. Many political prisoners and prisoners of conscience are in Iran now. As a result of the revelations that me and other Iranians who live outside of Iran, people's voices were heard all over the world. And now, after 40 years of the government of the Islamic Republic, people are fed up. There are demonstrations in Iran all the time. I would say at least once a week, people demonstrate against the government. Of course, the government resorts to violence in order to silence people, but they don't achieve. The last news that I heard from Iran was that one of the champions of wrestling in Iran, who had participated in demonstrations in Iran, was caught, and he received a punishment of execution. So the Iranian celebrities, all of the people in Iran, celebrities from all over the world, the Olympic International Committee, the Wrestling Committee, even President Trump, the European Union, they all objected to his execution and asked the government to stop the execution and set him free. But you know what the result was? Unfortunately, yesterday, they executed him without even notifying him. And then the government buried him that night. And this resulted in the whole world becoming against this government because of all this violence. I'm sure that one day the people of Iran will achieve their goal, which is a democratic government. And all of us Iranians, this is what we want. But we haven't submitted. So now you're going to ask me, when a woman at age 63 loses everything and all of her belongings, how is she going to live? The response goes back to what I told you. This means that by being self-confident and believing in what I can do, I solved my problem. During this time in exile, I published 3 books. One or two of my books have been translated into Hindu languages. And I heard that 2 different Hindu languages are the languages that the book has been translated to. The first book is Iran Awakening. That has been translated into 25 languages. My second book, where I explain, it's called Until We're Free. And that has been translated into 15 languages. For example, English, Arabic, French. I don't know if it's been translated into any of the Hindu languages, but I think that you all speak English. You can get it from Amazon, or you can get it in Hindu, or... So these books brought a lot of income for me. And this is how I can manage my life and the articles that I write. Therefore, you can see that at the beginning, the government of Iran thought that, okay, we have gotten even with Shiri Nibadi. We have taken all of her property. We have ruined her family. And then they found out that no, I am able to not only manage my own life, but I am able to help other people who need my help. Some of my co-workers who need my help. And I'm working more than I used to work in the past. And I see all of these as results of the failures that I became victorious. I am sure that each and every one of you will and can solve your problems. And you will be victorious and successful. So when we speak of leadership, the main purpose is to empower people and to tell people that you are a powerful person and you can be a leader. So start with your family, in your society, in your country. Don't ever be scared. God is with you and you will succeed. Thank you for having listened to me. Okay, so I'm saying goodbye to you. Okay.
Shukriya, Shirin Ebadi ma'am and Shireen Ashadi ma'am. The translator was actually joining us from California at 6:30 a.m. And
I'm glad to have participated in your program. It's a very good and powerful program. And I wish you success as well.
Shukriya, thank you so much.
Thank you for asking me to translate.
Thank you for making it happen, and I wish you have a nice Sunday.
Okay, bye-bye.
Khudafis.
Khuda Hafiz.
That brings us to the end of our graduation ceremony and not our Sunday session. I want to start with a thank you to my incredible team that has made this happen. I want to thank the fellows for believing in us, the families and friends of the fellows who supported them, and a number of my advisors, mentors, and friends who've also joined today. LedBy is a leadership incubator for high potential Indian Muslim women. Our fellows are some of the best and brightest in their colleges, from their schools, or even from the cities that they come. But there's only so much you can do as an empowered person in an unempowered system. And that's what LedBy is trying to address. We are an incubator, but we're also an ecosystem of support, an ecosystem of supporters, and of inspiration. I'd also like to share what I've learned with from our two keynote speakers. I've learned that bravery is integral to achieving your dreams, and you also heard that from Shiri ma'am's story. From Shabana ma'am, I realized that you could be one of the first Muslim names that comes to 1.3 billion people's mind, but when you're asked to come and speak at the inaugural cohort, you will still call up the team at least 3 times to make sure you have the speech right, showing just how much diligence goes into this, even if you are at the top of your game. So bravery and diligence were two things that I learned or observed respectively from Shirin ma'am and Shabana ma'am. But one common thing was the fact that they are collaborative, the fact that they are paying it forward, the fact that they are pulling other women up to the levels that they have managed to achieve. I believe that if you have the privilege of knowing, you don't have the luxury of not doing. The foundation is focused on the individual fellow, but the individual fellow has a responsibility way beyond what the foundation has spoken about for the past couple of months. You are leaders in terms that maybe vary from person to person, but we know that you are definitely role models and inspiration, if not already. You've taught us, you're going to go ahead and teach more people, and we wish you all the success in your future journey. We've got your back. Thank you so much for being with us, class of 2020. Everybody for joining us as we exit. Hang around. Priya, over to you one last time.
Thank you, Ruha. We started this evening on a fun note, but I definitely want to end it on a very nostalgic one. And I think this song always comes to my mind when I think of saying goodbye to anyone. आज जाने के जिद ना करो, आज जाने के जिद ना करो, यूं ही पहलों में बैठे रहो, यूं ही पहलों में बैठे रहो, आज जाने के जिद ना करो, हाय मर जाएंगे हम तो लुट जाएंगे, हाय मर जाएंगे हम तो लुट जाएंगे, ऐसी बातें किया ना करो, आज जाने के जिद ना करो, वक्त की कैद में जिंदगी है मगर, वक्त की कैद में जिंदगी है मगर चंद घड़ियां यही है जो आजाद है, चंद घड़ियां यही है जो आजाद है, जिनको अपनी कसम जाने जा, बात इतनी मेरी मान लो, आज जाने के जिद ना करो. Thank you so much. Over to you, Ruha.
Thank you, Shreya. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening, and for the fellows and mentors for being with us for the past couple of months. The team's going to stay back for a couple of minutes. If you have any questions, want to chat, feel free, or otherwise you can also drop off. Thank you again. Have a great Sunday evening.